Form here.
Yes, so I'm
Good.
just going to make sure that Counselor Eccles is here. I'm just making sure that he's getting in the meeting properly, but we do.
Okay, good. So I'll call the meeting to order. Is there any? Oh, there we go. Now we're
We are good to
recording.
go.
We're good to go. Thank you, Rob. Okay, I'll call the meeting to order. Good morning, everyone. Is there any declaration related to interest related to an item on today's agenda? Not seeing or hearing any, I will declare that you can declare it at any time if one does arise. Our first item for, and only actually item for direction or discussion this morning, aside from the closed session later, is a CAO report from Kim regarding a work plan status update. So, Kim, I'll turn the floor to you.
Thank you, Mr. Warden, and good morning, everyone. The report before you is an update, a mid-year update on the contributions being made by each department towards achieving the goals and objectives for the 2023-2027 strategic plan. As has been our practice since 2012 when we first adopted a strategic plan. We build the goals and objectives and initiatives to support those into the work plans of each member of the senior management team. And then we have meetings throughout the year to update the status of each of those commitments. As always, if there was something that was seriously awry with something, that would be brought to council's attention immediately. Fortunately, we're not in that position at this time. I'm really happy to be able to report that we're making good progress on all of the commitments that we've made. And the summary that is attached to the document really goes through each one of the areas. I'm happy to take any questions on any of these items. I'll just note a couple of things here. On the second page of that report, or page 4 here, the public engagement framework work that we're doing with Access E11. This is an initiative that Rob Hatton brought to council some months ago. We are have just completed the training for staff and are working through ensuring that we've got this tool customized appropriately for Grey County's use. Meaford and Georgian Bluffs already use Access E11 to take in any requests for service or concerns from the public. This will replace the Contact Us button on the county's website and allow us a lot more functionality as far as being able to track things that the public has raised for follow-up, and allow us to actually do that follow-up, measure and manage and report. So really looking forward to having that completely up and running. Item 13 here is maintain and improve on paramedic response times. And again, this will be discussed with all of council going forward. You just had the response time report. I'm really so pleased that paramedics are being able to keep up with the increased call volumes and actually have made some improvements to the response time. I would say that there's an emerging issue here around the changes to the Durham Hospital operation. And I think in conversations between Kevin and myself, even as recent as this morning, I think we're going to have to talk to them about committing to a patient transfer service. Right now, because there's no inpatient beds anymore in Durham, then people who have come to the ER, then if they need to be admitted, they need to be taken somewhere else. And it's starting to get to be a burden on our paramedics to have to then do patient transfers to take people to other hospitals for that admission and further treatment. So something that we're following closely there. If I move to the cost containment section, which starts with item number 26, there's some projects here that are planned for 2025. But one of the in-year items that we embarked on this year was about facilities management. And we have actually yesterday and today, the trainer is here working with a team from across the county around how we can do a better job of managing our many facilities and all of the operations, maintenance, and capital investment that goes into that. I think that there's some really probably very, very beneficial work that can come out of this as far as consolidating our efforts, ensuring that we're making the best use of staff that right now are attached to a particular department, but have the ability to be shared across the whole corporation. On and on. I'll talk a little bit about that later on in this meeting, but I think there's some good news going to come out of that from a cost containment perspective. If I move down to planning and infrastructure, those of you that are on the roads task force will know that the urban and rural roads report is coming to that committee on September 6th. So a lot of tremendous amount of work has gone into getting those proposals up and ready, and looking forward to a good discussion at that meeting. Item 32 about infrastructure master plans with member municipalities. This is a potential project, I think, 25, 26, where we'll get to there. The interesting thing that we're watching closely with this particular one is where's the province headed, both with development charges and regional, some models for regional service delivery when it comes to water and wastewater. Early days for some of the research but you see that some significant investment has been made by Canada Mortgage and Housing and the province in looking at different ways to support the development of this infrastructure. So I think we want to be ready and prepared to jump on an opportunity if there is one there, but haven't done much work there at this time. The new paramedic base in Durham. So we did complete the template and the base design. We have tendered that. There will be an award report coming, but really good result. The work that was done in preparation for the tender, I think, has paid us some good dividends, and so to say that we did well in the budget side. So we're looking forward to seeing that project move forward. Item 37 about regional waste management assessment. So Randy's been working with members, representatives from all of our member municipalities around waste management and just undertaking this assessment, regional assessment of where people are with landfill capacity, organics, etc. One of the pieces of work that I think will represent some more significant efforts on all of our parts is where we're going with producer responsibility for recycling and circular management Ontario. If there is no pickup for recycling for the multi-res or industrial, commercial, institutional farms, what does that mean? And how much of an impact it's going to have on our landfill capacity, where what do we need to do to address that and to protect our landfill capacity? So that base assessment is being compiled and will come forward to council for information and consideration. And I think there's probably a good solid piece of follow-up work as well to come with that. If I move forward to economic development, tourism, and culture, lots of great work happening there. As usual, I will point to the inaugural Economic Development Leadership Forum that's planned for November 21st at Cobble Beach, and looking forward to a really great day of conversation and collaboration amongst everyone as we think about what our future initiatives look like around economic development and investment attraction and retention. Going on from there, when I get to First Nations reconciliation and relationship building, I see that on line 52, I missed a spot in compiling the report. I do apologize for that. The senior management team did have some cultural safety training along with members of council. You'll note further on that the directors of HR and economic development did complete the AMO program around cultural competency, and that this is work that is ongoing. I've also asked the purchasing department to look at our procurement bylaws and consider whether there are other opportunities there to work with our First Nations communities. So we'll be looking for a report for that later on in the fall. The next section is skill development and succession planning. Much of this work is future focused as the HR department's pretty consumed right now with the Dayforce implementation, our new human resources information system. But I would point out item 61 about construction management and inspection training. We hired a new person this year to take that on and lead that. He's very experienced, and it's, I think, made a huge difference, both to the capacity and confidence of our existing staff that move into that inspection role in the summer. So some of our winter people then become inspectors over the summertime. And, it was asking a lot of them. I think if they didn't have good leadership and good support in taking on that role, not every contractor takes kindly to to being asked to make changes to what they're doing. But I think that the knowledge and education that we've been able to provide to them, as well as some new tools, have allowed them to do a much stronger job in ensuring that our expectations are met and that the standards that we've set in various contracts are being upheld. I've talked to Pat and the team about this. This training is something that we would like to extend to members of your own public works department, whether or not they're going to take on inspection or whether just for their own knowledge and awareness as you are managing potentially contract people to take on inspection rules for you. It's always nice to know a lot yourself about what you're asking somebody else to do. So that's the plan for 2025, is to ensure that your staff have an opportunity to learn as well. This year they did made sure that everybody could do basic surveying and some interesting things like that. So as I say, it's worked out well. Beyond that, I didn't have anything specific that I wanted to point out from here. As I say, I'm really happy that everybody's been able to get as much done as they have so far this year, and expect that will continue. But if anybody had any questions about any of the items, I'm happy to answer those.
Thank you, Kim. And before Tara or Kayla gives me trouble, I haven't got a mover and seconder for the motion yet. So if I could do that first. Peter moves and Ian seconds. Thank you very much. Ian, you had a question? Go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. Kim, at about number 75, complete new 10-year housing homeless plan coming this fall. Where are we at on that? Really close, or?
Well, we were really close until we got some new information about how the funding model is going to work with the province. And so now Anne-Marie and her team are going to have to take a step back and take a look at that and ensure that what we want to do is what we'll actually be able to do. So
can I ask that question of Anne-Marie at the next open council?
Absolutely, and I'll tell her to be ready. We have a similar issue in childcare, so there will be you will have a conversation about childcare funding and operations on September the 12th. but by all means, please do ask her about the housing and homelessness plan, and she'll be happy to give you an update.
I did go to the homelessness thing at AMO. It was Waterloo region and Sudbury, and a really amazing woman that's doing research from University of Waterloo.
Yes.
They're talking about implementing all the stuff that we've been doing here at the Grey County level for years. You know, having a plan from 2014 on is amazing. And when we made a list of all the things they said we should do, and it's like, we're doing that, we're doing that, we're doing that. We've got SOS. We're like, you know, we're in great shape. I think we need to tweak that a little bit more, and don't wait for this guy to do it at a council meeting. So apparently he doesn't say it right. But anyway, I think that's important. I think we're doing a great job, and I think we need to tell more about what we're doing. Thanks.
Thanks, Ian.
Very much.
Kevin. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Kim.
I was just going to add, there was the homelessness session that I attended. Now I'm going to have to rack my brain to remember the organization that he was with. But they were doing advocacy. And one of the things that he talked about was whether or not there was an opportunity for, and this would be more of a federal government thing because it had to do with seniors' benefits, but that if you were willing to open your home to someone to share a home and deal with those empty bedrooms that you've mentioned many times, would it be advantageous to allow people to have a tenant paying rent on a shared housing basis without that impacting their other benefits, right? Should that, how should that rent be taxed? Should it impact your income towards your OAS, GIS considerations, and whether or not that would be a help for people? So I thought there was some interesting conversations to have there.
Yeah, for sure. Kevin, go ahead, please.
Thank you, Mr. Warden, and through you to Kim. We're doing work. I just got a little bit hazy and lost on. We're doing work on landfill, and I didn't know that the county had dusted off that program from 30 years ago, and the county was going to take over all landfills.
All right.
But I'm glad.
You're right. You will recall that when the province still had innovation funding, we were going to undertake a fulsome waste management assessment. And then the timeline to get the work done and the access to the funding didn't align. So we weren't able to continue on with that. But the commitment to look into waste management operations across the county still existed. So we took just from a staff level, undertook to put together a community of practice and just collect the basic information. And this is work that I think we would have needed to do anyway, just to try and understand where things are at and whether there are any opportunities that could come forward to assist any of our member municipalities in working together to solve what issues they face, or just where various contracts are at and the terms of those. And so this is just work that staff are doing with the idea that we'd want to kind of bring an assessment report forward to council and see where you'd like to go.
Thanks, Kim. Shirley, please.
Thanks, Mr. Warden, and good morning, everyone. Kim, I just wondered if I could ask under skills development and succession planning a couple of questions. First of all, in terms of vacancies within the county staff complement, are we having good success filling those, better than we had previously? And secondary to that, I just wondered if you could expand a little bit on point 58, supporting staff secondments between municipalities. Can you give us a little bit of an idea of what those might look like?
Yes, and thankfully Jen is here, so she can add to my initial answer. So as far as filling vacancies and what kind of response we're getting, and I think our experience, what I am understanding anecdotally, is that our experience is fairly consistent with what other people are saying. We get good interest in many of the positions that we post. And in some cases, for example, for a while there, we were quite concerned about our ability to attract paramedics. We seem to have turned that around, and we've had really good response the last couple of callouts for new medics that we've made. In other positions, we've really struggled, and part of it has to do with the county's requirement that people be able to come into the office a couple of days a week. You can have staff all day long if you never wanted to see them, and that's not where we would like to go. I feel the senior team feels that there's real benefits to having people come in person, sometimes at least, to meet with their colleagues and participate in face-to-face meetings, etc. So that is where it's been a bit of a challenge. We need a GIS person in IT. We've needed them yesterday for about 6 months, and haven't been able to do that. We have now gone out with an external recruiter to try and fill that position. I don't know, Jen, what do you think? Like on the health human resources side, I think again we've stabilized a little bit.
Yeah, we have. It is much more IT professionals and finance professionals. We are really finding that if we can grow our own, it is so much better. But finding people off the street that are willing to come to Grey County, even the commitment with GIS was just be available to come once a month. GIS has to do some drone work, and it's field work, and it must be done on site. It can't be done virtually in your basement. But we're seeing that as a trend across North America. Folks are trying to encourage people to come back into the office, and it's in some areas not being successful. And I think the public or the folks that we're recruiting needs to understand that the large swing to have people working from home after the pandemic is ending. So that presents challenges for us.
And then the second part of, thanks, Jen, the second part of your question, Shirley, about secondments, and this really builds on the answer that Jen just provided to you about the county's ability to grow our own talent and to retain good people within our network here. I mentioned this at the Wardens Forum as something that was a workforce development being part of the strategic plan. We would like to work with our member municipalities to create a more formal structure to enable secondments to happen between our organizations, right? Ensure that the paperwork is in order and available for anyone to be able to pick up and use, so nobody has to feel like, okay, how does this even work with OMERS and salary and benefits and all those things, right? So just taking away, if one of the things that holds people back from secondments is just how does the paperwork all work? We should be able to take that right off the table, and then it's more about how are we giving people opportunities to learn and to grow and get experiences that they can then bring back to their home municipality, or use to go on to other positions in other places. I think what we don't want to see is good people leaving municipal government or leaving because they feel like they're a bit, there's nowhere to go. There's no path, and there's not even the ability to have a conversation about what the future might look like. So when Jen works with her human resource colleagues across the county, and we talk about where we have strengths, where we have weaknesses, where there are opportunities and challenges, that using the new tools we will be able to kind of map that out and talk about succession planning, right? How do you go from being a building inspector to a CBO, for example? How can someone work their way up from, being on the front line to a management position? How do we make sure that our managers are ready to be directors and leads? Those, I think, intentional conversations about those things and making sure that people have opportunities for training and gaining experience is the most cost-effective way that, and I think provides us all with the greatest assurance of ongoing quality in the people that we have, if we put some focused attention to that. Jen, did I miss anything there? Does that answer your question, Shirley?
Thank you. Yes, Kim. So I think I'm seeing the opportunity for potentially people who are already working at the county, but perhaps there isn't an opportunity right today for them to move up. And if there was an opening in a municipality or a manager or director, they could come to us and go back and forth with the goal of keeping everybody in gray.
Exactly. That's exactly right. And whether it's like, however it works between member municipalities and between the county and the member municipalities, like we should be able to move people around and backfill vacancies and, give people developmental assignments.
Very good. Thank you, Kim. Thank you for the question, Shirley. Peter, you're up. Please.
Thank you, Mr. Warden, through you, and good morning, County Council. Building on what Shirley had said, Kim, in relation to regionality of, say, projects, there's so much going on through the CAO's office. We just had the meeting about planning. What else on a forward-looking basis into 25, 26, what else do you see that we could look at from a regionality standpoint, in generalities, that may help some of the pressures from not only from an HR point of view, but from a process point of view?
There's tremendous opportunities, I think, everywhere. Like the work that we're doing on, as I said, on construction quality inspection management, all of the lean process design and development work that we're doing now around facilities management, that all of that is transferable work. There are some significant projects. The roads project, if that should proceed, there'll be work on both sides to move that forward. The waste management that we've already talked about has some potential there. We're still waiting on the next version of the housing action plan. What does that look like? Where does that take the community improvement plan programming? Are there adjustments that are needed to be made there to make that a more effective tool for us to use? And on we go. There's information technology, training, process redesign work, again, that we could very easily include member municipalities in that learning and development. Water and wastewater is huge, but we need to see where the province wants to go, I think, with supporting that. Same with housing. So I don't have many really specific things in mind as far as projects go, but I feel strongly that collaboration and working together on things towards a common goal is the only way we're going to get through this, because there's simply not enough resources to enable everybody to do an effective job going it alone.
Thank you for that. And can I just have a follow-up, Mr. Warden?
Absolutely. Go ahead.
Thank
please.
Thank you. Thank you for that, Kim, and I appreciate it. It's more broad stroke. And then I guess specifically from all the action items you're working on, is there any from a fiscal lens, as we're going to be looking into the budget as in the next, we're already into September. Is there anything specifically which is going to be larger skewed than we had originally anticipated that may be at risk or look at needing from a fiscal point of view that we may look at? It will be a surprise, I guess, to county council, or maybe in jeopardy of not because of fiscal pressures.
Well, that's always such a concern, right? We're coming into a budget where there are, I think that September 16th, that budget meeting is, that committee will have a conversation about kind of what we're seeing as we're building the 25 budget and the 26 outlook. There are some cost pressures that are kind of baked in already that we need to think of carefully. And then some of the initiatives that haven't yet been decided upon. If those go forward, they also come with financial implications. And I think the discussion is, okay, how are we going to manage those expenditures and over what time frame? So is there an opportunity to space things out a little further than what we might have done in earlier times in order to lessen the impact, or are we simply not in a position to move forward? But certainly there are some there's some difficult decisions ahead of us when it comes to budget.
Great, thank you.
Thank you, Peter. Good question. Any other questions from committee members? Okay. Well, the motion is there in front of us to receive for information. I will call the question. Anyone opposed? Not seeing any opposition, I'll declare that carried. Thank you very much, Kim. Okay, we have a closed session. I'll read the motion that the CAO Performance Evaluation Committee does now go into closed session to discuss succession planning pursuant to Section 239 of the Municipal Act to discuss 1, personal matters about an identifiable individual, including municipal or local board employees, and 2, position, plan, procedure, criteria, or instruction to be applied to any negotiations carried on or to be carried on by or on behalf of the municipality or local board. When someone cared